Uh, What's up, people? I am back for another video. We are finally here. We are finally reviewing Superman. And man, uh, I I really did not want to be right with this movie. I really did not want to be right with this movie. I wanted it to be wrong. Because I'll be honest, I had a bad feeling once they announced James Gunn was doing it, because to me, he is not the right choice for Superman. He never was. Whatever you think of Snyder, you can think Snyder wasn't a right pick, fine, but you can't tell me Gunn was. And now seeing the movie, I was right, unfortunately. I wanted to be wrong. I was hoping that maybe James Gunn could prove me wrong and maybe not be a one trick pony and make the same fucking movie over and over again since 2014. But unfortunately, that's what we got. I mean, look what he did with the Suicide Squad. That wasn't good, and that was 3 years ago, 4 years ago now. That wasn't good. Look what he did with Superman. It's just, let's get into it, right? I don't really have any positives, and I will say this, and I'm going to say this throughout the video. I don't fault Nicholas Holt, David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan. I don't really fault them because it wasn't their fault. I think they could have been really good if they actually got something to work with. Like Rachel Brosnahan and David Cornsweet, they have chemistry. And I think if they had a better script, they could have been a really good Lois and Clark. But unfortunately, the script didn't give them anything to work with. Same thing with Cornsweet and Nicholas Holt. I think they could be a good Superman and Lex and have a good Superman and Lex dynamic, but they didn't have, the script didn't help. The script was really bad, so unfortunately it made, oh sorry, thought it was someone's shirt. But I really felt like they didn't have anything to work with in this movie. They couldn't chew any of the scenery because the movie was so bad. It was written so badly. The tone of the movie, it basically is a Marvel movie. It's basically what I was worried that this was gonna be. It was just gonna be a giant joke. And I was basically worried the Justice Gang were just gonna be a stand-in for the Guardians, and that's what they were. They literally were the Guardians. Like, basically, Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl had this Gamora Star Lord relationship. The only thing is, this wasn't a relationship, but they basically had the same dynamic. And everything was undercut with a joke. There's this one scene that could have actually been a good scene between him and Pa Kent. They undercut it with a joke. And Pa Kent and Ma Kent, oh my god, they got butchered in this movie. They were basically portrayed as just dumb rednecks. It made no sense. When you had Diane Lane and Kevin Costner in the last movie, who were really good as Pa Kent and Ma Kent, and even like the animated series is like goated, but I meant to say Smallville had a good Bond pocket. Even the, obviously even the original Donner film. For the most part, Ma and Pa Kent have been largely casted well live action, and in this, they weren't even really a factor in the movie. They were just there, just as like a checkbox. So here's your Ma and Pa Kent. Oh, and Jarrell. Jarrell was character assassinated. So I never want to hear about Jonathan Kent being quote unquote character assassinated in Man of Steel ever again if you defend this Jarrell shit. Because this is way worse. I don't think Jonathan Kent was character assassinated in Man of Steel, by the way, but I'm just saying if you think that. This is way worse. The fact that basically the message from his father is he was sent to Earth to basically take over and become a ruler. At first, I was hoping that it was going to be like something Lex just manipulate. No, that people can try to argue and maybe they'll retcon it. They'll say it was like Brady. No, fuck off. That is not how you introduce Jarrell. Jarrell is one of the most important parts of these movies. Marlon Brando, while not a big part of the original Superman movie, while obviously there was a lot of behind the scenes issues, but in the movie, he was great. That speech he gives Cal, when he reads the message, from the crystal, or Man of Steel, Jarrell. To me, Russell Crowe is the best live action Jarrell we have ever had. That speech he gives is so iconic in Man of Steel when he does the first flight. What do they do in Jarrell in this movie? They do nothing with him, and then they fucking ruin him in the end. I don't care if it gets retconned. I don't care. That is how you introduce the character. Speaking of introducing characters, our first introduction to Superman, you know that scene where he's like laying on ice and got beat up? That's the beginning of the movie. Like, you immediately start off with our hero getting his ass kicked. What the fuck? Why would you immediately introduce? I understand our hero. I mean, I know how these superhero movies are. I've watched them long enough to know. Usually the hero does good in the beginning, and then when they finally face their foe, they get their ass kicked typically the first time. I mean, it happened in Man of Steel, like, when Superman first fought, not necessarily Zod, but like the other Kryptonians. He kind of got beat up, but he still looked good in the fight, and they didn't immediately introduce him and have him get his ass kicked. Why wouldn't you introduce him by having him save people? Like, maybe a building's about to fall, helicopter's about to fall, a plane accident, maybe recreate the plane scene from Superman Returns, which was really good. And I hate to say this, Superman Returns, and y'all know me, that is my least favorite DC movie of all time. This is worse than that. At least Brandon Routh had a good scene in this movie. He didn't get his ass kicked the entire time. I am not kidding you. He gets his ass kicked the entire opening, and then he fights Captain Baravia, which is revealed to be Ultraman. Kicks his ass again in the beginning. The only time he looked somewhat, like, good was when he fought the monster, which I'll admit, if that was the opening, even if that was the opening, that would have been a better opening than what we got. You should have did the monster in the beginning. I think that would have made more sense than what you did here. Why would you immediately have your hero immediately open and have him get his ass kicked? And then you have Krypto, who, fuck Krypto, by the way. Krypto is annoying as fuck in this movie. He is obnoxious. I get it's a dog, but Jesus Christ. And then he's clearly just there to be, oh, guys, look at the cute doggy. That's all he's there for. He doesn't actually really help anything. He doesn't do anything. And this is what I was saying, why having Krypto in the movie was a bad idea. Because Krypto just does not work live action. I always thought Krypto was stupid, if you ask me. I always thought it was a goofy concept. But at least in, like, the DC Super Pets movie, it's in a world of super pets. Or even in, like, I don't know if anyone watched this, but there was a Krypto cartoon that came out in, like, the mid-aughts, mid-2000s. That it was basically Krypto. He was a super dog, but there was no Superman. Or Superman was there, but he wasn't in the show. He was just referenced. Same with, like, Ace the Bat Hound. He was pretty much they were clearly stand-ins for Superman and Batman, but they weren't. But actual Superman and Batman weren't there. So that's when I think Krypto can work. If you just kind of do Krypto doing his own thing, he should not be in a movie with Superman. The only way I've told people this is, like, if you have, like, a pet, if Clark gets a pet dog that looks like Krypto and he names it Krypto. And it's like a little Easter egg, but he's not like an actual super dog. He's just a normal dog. I think that could work if you make him like a little Easter egg. But having an actual super dog is goofy as fuck. And unfortunately, that's a lot of this movie. It's very goofy. Things don't really make sense. Shit just kind of happens, too. There's no cohesion to the plot at all. And I had this kind of same issue with Suicide Squad. Shit was just kind of happening. You know, it was like a lot happening at once. And then you had that really bad interview scene, which was clear. When I was watching it, I didn't really get that when I watched it when they released it as the clip. But when I watched it in the movie, I think they were going for laughs. Like, they were going for Superman and Lois kind of bickering at each other. Or when Lois... by the way, all the leaks are true. Well, not all of them. Like, the Brainiac stuff and Hal Jordan, apparently that wasn't real. But the main leaks that I read months ago are all true. The whole pocket universe thing where Lex keeps... That's all real. Miss Tessmacher being the one... And Jimmy, by the way, somehow is a ladies' man. I don't know why. And, like, the only pause I have with Jimmy is at least he's white, and he looks like actual Jimmy Olsen. But he's just there to be I think that's a James Gunn stand-in, honestly. That's all that felt like to me. But going back to, I'm gonna be going... This review is gonna be very scattered, because there's just so much problems I have with this movie. This is why people complain about, like, having the origin story, but if you're establishing a new Superman, Batman, or Spider-Man, sorry guys, you have to see the origin. Well, for one, it helps the cohesion of the plot. Because when you have a hero that's already established, oh, let's just have him do shit and expect people to understand what's going on. You know, like that doesn't always work. Sometimes it can work, but it doesn't always work. I don't think it worked here because there's just too much going on. And I agree with a lot of people who said this movie was very bloated, and too much going on. A lot of exposition too. There's a lot of dialogue dumps. Like the whole interview scene was a dialogue dump. It wasn't even done. Like you compare that in the interview scene from the original Reed film, and it doesn't hit the same. This one clearly was done for laughs. They were going for them bickering at each other when Lois unironically says hashtag super shit, which that was real. That was also in the leaks. Like, why? Oh, and that's what this title, the video title is going to be. Hashtag super shit, because that's what this movie is. This movie is super shit. So, why, man? And then the whole monkeys, the whole troll monkey thing that came out months ago, that's real too, by the way. That's also real. They don't have like a big plot. I'll admit, I'll give it that. Like they're not like a big part of the movie. Like you only see them like twice, but still, they're in the movie. It's like why? Once again, because it's done for a laugh. Because we gotta have that typical James Gunn humor. It's like James Gunn cannot fucking help himself. Y'all say the same thing about Zack, but at least Zack understood with the Man of Steel. He made just about Superman and Zod. There wasn't a billion characters. As cool as Mr. Terrific was, which I hate coming out of a Superman movie and saying Mr. Terrific was the best thing in the movie. That is insane. I should not be coming out of that. A Superman movie saying Mr. Terrific is the best thing. I don't think, not just him, Guy Gardner didn't really need to be there. Hawk Girl didn't need to be there. As much as Mr. Terrific had some cool scenes, he didn't need to be there. It should have just been Superman, Lex, and I wouldn't have did Ultraman. I would have just had him be Bizarro. Just have him be Bizarro. And that's all it needed to be. I think if you streamline this movie, you cut out a lot of the fat, cut down a lot of the shitty jokes, because the humor was ridiculous. Like, it's once again, I was saying this throughout, like, when I was watching the movie, was this is why I don't like a lot of modern superhero movies anymore, because they can't take themselves seriously anymore. They're not allowed to. The last one, as much as I didn't like the movie, ironically, was The Batman. That was the only superhero movie where, within the last couple of years, I'm not going to count the Snyder cut because that was technically supposed to come out like years ago. But if you're talking about like within the last couple years, like three years, we'll say, it was The Batman. As much as I didn't like the fucking movie, at least I'll give it that. It took itself seriously. I'm not saying Superman needs to be dark like the Batman, but it needs to. I would love a Superman movie to take itself seriously and have a nice blend of humor. Even the Donner films, yeah, there's a bit of humor, but they're not. It's not goofy. This is just goofy, and this is like the epitome of a bad Saturday morning cartoon, and that's basically what this fucking was. And I just don't understand why James Gunn went this direction. It's once again because he couldn't help himself. He basically has to have his shitty humor and everything, and constantly portraying Superman to be bitchy, getting his ass kicked, very whiny. Constantly needing help. I don't mind people helping Superman here and there, but the amount of times, like even the one scene where when he first gets his ass kicked in the city, a guy helps him up, then Lois has to save him, then Crypto has to. It's like Jesus fucking Christ. I have no problem with people needing to help Superman, or even just in general helping the hero in the movie, like Spider-Man 2. One of the best scenes is when the townspeople all stood up for Spider-Man. You know, when when they stood up to Doc Ock. You know, even not Man of Steel, but BVS, you had, Lois helping Superman out of the water when he's trying to get the kryptonite spear. So there's moments even in those movies where people help Superman. I don't have a problem with that. But at least for the most part, Spider-Man 2, Pete wasn't getting his ass kicked the entire time. And that's Spider-Man. He's the one hero where I'm like, you know what? I don't necessarily have a problem with them getting their ass kicked the entire time. Because Spider-Man, that's always been kind of a thing. He gets his ass kicked a lot. But even to an extent, I'm fine with it with Batman if it makes sense. Like if he's fighting a villain like Bane or, someone like that, or even Deathstroke, yeah, he's going to get his ass kicked a little bit. But Superman, the entire fucking movie, was getting his ass kicked and then needing help. That's when it was just getting frustrating. I'm like, oh my God. And I gotta agree with a lot of people who are saying a lot of the men just were crying in this movie. And I don't want to point this out, and I'm probably not gonna point this out on Sunday. I'm gonna stick to my other points that I feel like are stronger. But yeah, a lot of the men were crying. You got Lex cried, Superman cried, the one dude who worked at the Daily Planet was a background character, he cried. It was just like, okay, guys, we get it. There's nothing wrong with showing Superman to be a bit vulnerable. The animated series, there was times I think they overdid it, but largely they did a good job of, they slightly nerfed Superman and definitely showed that he would need help at times. But he still was portrayed as a hero and heroic and badass. Yeah, he took some beatings, but he still largely was able to kick ass still too. And I think that's more my issue. I have no problem portraying Superman to be weak, like having him be nerfed, not even nerfed, but like obviously you don't want to make him OP. I have no problem with not wanting to make him OP. But when you have him just get his ass kicked the entire fucking time, that's when I have issues. Because it's just like, okay, why is he constantly getting his ass kicked, bro? Like, why? It's ridiculous now, him always just getting his ass kicked. In this film, I was just rolling my eyes by the like fourth time. I'm like, okay, this is just all, and this is where I can't blame David Cornsway. This is what he was stuck with. I think if he was stuck with a better plot, you take out a lot of the shitty humor, and obviously cut out a lot of the bloat, i.e., certain characters, like the Supergirl. Why was she here? Because that's all to get the reveal. Oh, she was Krypto's dog, and then she calls Superman bitch. Like, why? Oh, because she was drunk, so she came in like. That was also in the leaks, by the way. Like, why? If you're just gonna have Supergirl make a shitty cameo like that, why was she in the movie? Why? Because she wasn't even referenced. Not once do they reference Kara before you see her in this movie. Nah, man. Nah. This was shit, man. I was not happy. And then the music doesn't work. The repurposed, basically rescored version of the John Williams score does not work for this movie. They should have went an all new theme route like they did with Man of Steel. I don't understand why they didn't, because I think if they did, and you actually got a really good score, it stands. As much as I didn't like the Batman, I said this yesterday to my friend, that as much as I didn't like the Batman, the one thing I will give the Batman is they had a good score, because they made a unique score. They didn't just be like, let's just copy the Affleck score. We're going to copy the Batman or the 89 Batman score or the Nolan trilogy score. No, they were like, we're going to make our own. That's what they should have did in this movie. That's why the music cues, a lot of them just did not work for me, especially when that music swells up and it's supposed to be like the John Williams. It doesn't hit here. They should have went an all new route, and I think that would have worked better than, because the score just was weird. And then the song they played for Mr. Terrific did not work. It sounded like a song that, I'm going to say it sounded like something you'd see in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, once again, it's like the fucker cannot get out of his own way and just not make everything Guardians. Like, literally, the Justice Gang was basically the Guardians of the Galaxy. And then you had the scene where it was supposed to be like this emotional scene, right? Because this is after the whole reveal of the video and everybody started turning on Superman. Lois is supposed to be comforting him. You would think this is supposed to be a really nice emotional... No, they're like joking at each other. It's like, what the fuck? I'm like, James, let this scene actually be an emotional scene. And what's also stupid is you have like the Justice Gang fighting this ship thing, which I actually thought was Brainiac, but it's not. It's just some like thing from another dimension. They just casually mention it, by the way. And while they're fighting in the background, this is where they're supposed to have this emotional scene, and it's not even emotional because they're like joking at each other, Lois and Superman. It's like... And then Superman even gets detained by Lex and taken to his fucking pocket universe thing where they lock Superman up, and then Lois has to help him escape. It's just... Man. And then the third act just kind of happens... And there's like a rift going on in the city, and they just act like it's not a big deal. It's just kind of happening. It's just like I said, this movie is a lot of just shit happening just for the sake of shit happening. very unfocused. Whatever you think of Man of Steel, at least it was focused. Even shitty Superman Returns had a bit of a focus. Even Superman 4, as bad as that was, had a focus. And granted, I can at least laugh at Superman Returns. I mean, Superman 4, sorry. I can laugh at Superman 4, how ridiculous it is. I cannot laugh at this movie. This movie is just straight up bad. To me, this is the worst Superman movie because it's James Gunn being James Gunn. I think if you like his style, maybe you'll like the movie. But I think if you're a Superman fan who actually knows the character, I just don't see how you can like this movie. I just don't. I think some people are trying to be nice and say it's mid. No, it's straight up dog shit. This movie is awful. This isn't good. It's not funny. The ending, it just kind of, once again, there's a lot of movies this year that just kind of end. That seems to be a theme this year. There's just a lot of movies that just end with, like, very little resolution. And I felt like that's what this was. Superman saves the day, and then the movie, well, Supergirl shows up, and then it ends. Yeah. It's just, I think Nicholas Hoult, man, I think he could have been a really good Lex if he had a better script. Same thing with Rachel Brosnan. I will say she wasn't as bitchy as I thought, because that when they just showed that the interview scene, I'm not gonna lie, she came off bitchy, but she's actually not like that throughout the whole movie. She's actually mostly pretty good. I just think she deserved better. She deserved a better script. So did David Cornsweet. The only thing is, and when I mentioned this, I thought this was just be something I noticed, but even my friend Tyler, who also saw the movie, noticed it too. I am sorry. David Cornsweet's voice was throwing me off. His main voice. Like, when he wasn't, like, being emotional. He came off like a dude bro to me. I'm like, why does he sound like a dude bro? Like, he sounds like a dude bro. Why does... what? Yeah, just... there's so much off with this movie. So, yeah, I say now, I guess we can start getting into, like, the actual review part of it now. But, yeah, it's so disappointing because I really want DC to do good, but they can't get out of their own way, and it seems like they're still stuck on just wanting to be the new MCU, so we gotta make everything MCU tone now. It's insane to me. Like, James Gunn just cannot do Superman, and I fucking was worried. This was everything I was basically scared it was gonna be, and that's what this movie is. A giant joke that can't take itself seriously. The Ma Pa Kent scenes don't even hit. And there's a scene where he gets like kryptonite poisoning and they have to take him back to the Ken farm, and the Ken farm just kind of sucked. It was just, and another thing, Metropolis just did not look good. Metropolis, the only part of Metropolis that looked kind of accurate was Daily Planet, which isn't hard because it's just a building with a globe on it. But the rest of Metropolis it was just a city. It wasn't anything special. Like, Metropolis in the Donner films looked really good. I love Metropolis and Man of Steel. Like, even as much as I didn't like Superman Returns, Metropolis actually looked really good. Metropolis looked good. Like, they have, for the most part, the Superman movies, all of them up until this one, Metropolis looked pretty good, largely. They made Metropolis look unique because it's a unique looking city. This is just generic. Like, this might as well just been like New York City or Cleveland, something like that. Like they did not make it unique at all. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is some kind of my issues with the later Nolan Batman movies. Is I thought they took what made Gotham look unique away and just look like a generic city, and I think they did that here. Metropolis did not look special. Neither did the Kent farm. But going back to the Kents, the way they were portrayed, oh, they don't know how to use cell phones. It's like, what are we doing? Why are we doing that gag? Oh, they're old, they can't use phones. Like, what? Martha Kent used the phone in in BDS. What are we doing? She has a TV. She knows how to use technology. Why are we, just because she's old, she can't use tech? Like, why? So we can have a shitty gag? It's like, it's like there's so much shit done, all just for a shitty gag, and it fucking annoys me. But anyways, I think we probably should just get to the review part now. This movie is a 3 out of 10. This is probably my worst movie of the year, honestly, the more I think about it. As bad as Rebirth was, I kind of expected it to be bad. I wasn't like, there was a part of me that I always kind of knew it was going to be bad. I think this could have been good if it was in somebody else's hands. There was a chance here because this is supposed to be DC's, start of the new universe, and this was a bad start. No. So yeah, this was not good. And yeah, this isn't winning the summer. I don't know how anyone thought it was. As much as I don't like Rebirth, Jurassic Park has the international crowd. Superheroes don't anymore. Like, unless it's like some big event Avengers film or even like Spider-Man. Like, I think Brand New Day probably will get the international crowd just because it's Spider-Man. He's that universal. Superman's universal, but he's still kind of America centric. If some people need to accept that, superhero films are just not in anymore. So unfortunately, I'm not thinking this is gonna bomb or anything, but I don't think this is gonna do as good as. I think this does like 600 million, like maybe 700 at most, but I don't, or even close to it. But I don't think it hits anything higher than that. But anyways, let's get into this movie. Speaking of this movie, Sunday. Subscribe to Cowman Reviews. That is going to be my new review channel with some friends. Me, Cowman, my co-host from Pin Down Tyler. We're going to be doing that on Sunday. So look out for that stream. So subscribe to the channel. I'll put the link in the description. And then I should be back for Pin Down next week. So also subscribe to Pin Down Podcast. So, but anyways, let's get into this dog shit movie. So, the movie opens up. You get this opening crawl, which I don't really like. This isn't Star Wars. To me, that's a Star Wars thing. The opening crawl. Granted, it wasn't like like a Star Wars opening crawl where it goes for a bit, but you see like a shot of like, I'm assuming this is where Superman's Fortress of Solitude is. And you see Superman fly and crash. And this is talking about his first loss, which I just don't like that this is how we introduce Superman. It's him immediately just getting his ass kicked. And Crypto having to take him to the Fortress of Solitude, which I'll admit looked good. I like the whole kind of throwback to the Crystal look, from the Christopher Reeve movies. But stupid robots, which once again, they're there for a gag, and then you have Crypto being annoying for a gag. It's just like, fuck off. And then you got like the engineer lady who, she's just generic villain. There's nothing unique about any of the villains. Ultraman, why wasn't he just Bizarro? He should have just been Bizarro. I don't understand why you had to call him Ultraman when Ultraman, if you don't know, if you know this, there's a story out there called the Crime Syndicate, which is an alternate universe where the Justice League are villains, and the main leader, who's based off Superman, is Ultraman, who's basically evil Superman. He's like another evil Superman. And then you got Superwoman, who basically is essentially Wonder Woman, but evil. But yeah, like, so why did they have to use the Ultraman name? Why just not use Bizarro? Or they call him Captain Baravia, which is one of the fucking little countries that are gonna be going at each other. I don't remember the other country's name, where they're gonna be going to war, and Lex is trying to manufacture it and keep Superman from being there, so Superman can stop it. So that's why he's trying to basically ruin Superman's image, which has been done better, by the way. It's done so it's lazily done here. Like with let's have him use these fucking monkeys to do tweets. It's like, what are we doing? Why? This is such a goofy plot. Yeah, like immediately you have Superman just getting his ass kicked. Like, I don't like that. Like, this is how you introduce him. And then they go to the Daily Planet, and then, yeah, this is where you see him as Clark, which you don't get enough of him as Clark, I feel like. Actually doing like the news reporter stuff. There's only like the scene where he's at the Daily Planet, but the rest of the movie he's not really being a reporter. He's mostly Superman, really. And then when he is Clark, you have the scene where he's arguing with Lois, which we'll just get to right now because it's pretty much the next scene. Um, and honestly, this scene was painful. It was annoying. The back and forth. You didn't have any of the charming interview like you did from the original Superman movie. In this, it's not here. It's just them bickering at each other. Lois is asking the hard questions, and Superman's just getting emotional. And then the way it ends is just him storming off like a baby. It's like, what the fuck? Why are we making Superman act like a baby? Oh, he's acting human. I am sorry. In that sense, I think Superman should be above that. He should not be pouting like that. That is not Superman. He would not be acting like that. Like, why? Why does that have to be there? And then this whole scene is just dumb because he want to be funny. Oh, let's have her say super shit. And he's getting pissy about that. And then, like, they're back and forth. Oh, we got to make it kind of funny because they're bickering at each other. Oh, man. It's just... a lot of things are just done because we had to do a shitty gag. You know, along with this when he's getting into... Daily Planet, he's talking with Ma Kent, and she's acting like she can't use a phone. Like, what? She's having trouble using a cell phone. Like, oh my god, dude, really? She doesn't know how to use a cell phone, even though she's had no problem in other iterations. Like in the comics, she uses a cell phone. In the Snyder film, she's used a cell phone. So why are we doing this stupid gag just so old people can't use phones, and she's a dumb redneck? It's like. Ugh, I don't like you, James Gunn. You're not a good director anymore. I think you really were never a good director. I'm starting to think you just got lucky with the first Guardians and the Guardians movies just because those are his. And I think that's part of the reason why I think largely those are good movies. And that's because they're also in his niche. I don't think he belongs in a movie with characters like Superman. And this shows it. You know, and if you want to say it's good just because you like James Gunn, then whatever. That's more power to you, I guess. I think it's weird. Like, I like Snyder movies, but I can admit ones that are shit, like Army of the Dead and fucking Rebel Moon, both of them. They were both terrible. I can admit when a director fucks up, even if it's one I like. Like, I'm sorry, this was not good. Like, the pacing, like this is a time when this probably should not be a breakneck speed movie. I have no problem with movies doing that if it makes sense to do that, but it doesn't make sense here, to be honest. It's just breakneck speed for the sake of breakneck speed. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, once again, it's just shit happening. Because then now you have Lex now going to the Fortress of Solitude because the engineer located it, and they kidnap Crypto, and she shoots like this goop at his face that looks like symbiote from the Venom movies, and then Lex gets a monster and then makes it grow so it can the next day attack the city. And this is where they find that footage of Jor-El and Zara. I'm trying to remember. It was Jor-El's mom, Laura. I'm stupid, Laura, and his wife Laura. Why even have Jor-El in this movie if this is what you're gonna do to him? Because I'll just spoil it. I mean, you know what? I'll wait. Superman fights the monster, and this is probably the only scene where I felt like Superman actually looked good because he was actually getting some punches in. He was saving some people. He actually felt confident in himself. He didn't feel like he was just getting his ass kicked. And it's like, unfortunately, this is like one of the only scenes where you get that. You don't get that in the rest of the movie. You don't. A lot of the movie, it's him getting his ass kicked. It's just like, this is the only scene where he actually looks good. And then, yeah, the Justice Gang show up to help Superman take down the monster. Superman was trying not to kill it, but they end up killing it. And Guy Gardner he's just he's basically Star-Lord that just curses more. That's all he felt like to me. And I like Guy Gardner as a character, but I really, once again, why are they here? Why, you could have just easily had Superman fight the monster really by himself. And then the main villain is Bizarro, like the villain Lex, but like Bizarro is the one he fights. Or even Metallo. You could have did something like that instead of... You didn't need the Justice Gang in this movie. And Maxwell Lord is just there to get mentioned. He does get like There's a shot of him, like, when Lex is revealed to be the traitor later on, and then he says something on the news, but it's like, why? Why were any of these characters in this movie? All you're doing is just over bloating and overinflating your fucking movie to where it just complicates the plot. Yeah, I'll admit, Captain Mr. Terrific had some cool scenes, but he didn't need to be in the fucking movie. Hawkgirl definitely didn't need to be in the movie. I felt like she didn't really do anything outside of killing the leader that was, I think it was of Moravia that was conspiring with Lex. But outside of killing him, she doesn't do anything. And Guy Gardner, outside of like the middle, like in the end, when they stop the forces from invading the other country, where he does some stuff, he wants. I have the same feeling. Like, they don't need to be in the movie. Mr. Terrific actually did do some more stuff, especially towards the third act, but I even still feel like he didn't need to be there. I just feel like at this point, you're just putting all these characters in there for the sake of putting all these characters in there. Keep it fucking simple, stupid. That's what this movie should have been. Should have just been Lex. Maybe instead of fucking Ultraman, you have it just be Bizarro. Because that's basically what he fucking was. The only difference is he's, like, controlled. Like, Lex has, like, people basically basically have him do his attacks, and that's why he's so powerful. And because he has, like, cameras on him, which, strangely enough, it took Crypto realizing to destroy the cameras. Really? By the way, like, anyway. So they defeat the monster, and then Superman's kind of celebrating, and then Lex shows him the footage, because all of a sudden the crowd starts turning on Superman, and they show him the footage of what Jor-El said, that basically he was sent there to become a tyrant and rule over the simple people. So why the fuck did you... So you basically made Jor-El, if you know Invincible, you made him a Vetramite, or a Viltrumite. You made him a Viltrumite. That's all you made Jor-El. He's essentially a villain now. And I don't care if, like, oh, well, they could technically can't, make it not canon, and they can definitely, they'll retcon it. I think that's what they're going to do in the next one. They'll probably say it was, like, Brainiac is the one who fucked up the message, but still. Why? I was hoping, a little part of me was hoping, even though I don't think I even saw that in the leaks, I was hoping that maybe they were gonna, like, fucking, reveal it to be a fake message that Lex, like, manipulated her. Nope. They never did. So, as of now, Jor-El's a piece of shit. That is what they did. Like, what the actual fuck? How can you defend this movie? You destroyed pretty much one of the most important well, probably more important is Jonathan Kent because he actually raised him. But Jor-El is a big part of Superman's adult life. I mean, Jor-El is the one when, he contacts his father goes into Krypton and all that shit. Where Superman learns about his heritage was from fucking Jor-El. And in a way, he's got a father figure. That's the thing I love that Snyder did in Snyder's Justice League, where he had both of his fathers talking to him. Both Jor-El and Jonathan, because they're both important figures in his fucking life. No, we're gonna make Jonathan Kent a piece of shit, and basically have him. Oh, his motive for sending Superman is to take over Earth. Like, what the fuck? And you can retcon it all you fucking want, and you can retcon it, but it's going to be obvious to me you're retconning. Oh, we're going to make it like... Because I have a feeling that what they'll do is they'll say it was Brainiac who distorted the message. I don't care. You can't retcon that in the second film. You should not even have written that in the movie. At that point, just don't even have Jor-El in the movie. I would have been better off if you just didn't have Jor-El in the movie, have him just be mentioned, but he's not in the movie, and then maybe the next one we can go into Jor-El. I would have rather you did that, instead of basically destroyed his fucking character, just so you could do this shitty plot. Fuck that. Fuck that. Jor-El is such an important figure in Superman's life, even if he wasn't there, obviously, because he's dead. He's there. Well, Jor-El's a big part of why he becomes a fucking hero, and why he gets the suit, and all that shit in some versions. Obviously, mostly it's like his, Earth mom, Ma Kent made it, but there are some versions, obviously, like Man of Steel, where Jor-El is the one who's like, I sent you here for a reason so you can be a hero to them. Not to fucking rule over them, and basically you just made him a Viltrumite. And then you just made Superman the one good one. Get the fuck out of here, man. Fuck off with that shit. Yeah, just because of that alone, this makes this the worst movie of the year. Just because of that. That alone. That really pisses me the fuck off. So, I never want to hear Jonathan Kent, quote-unquote, character destruction in Man of Steel ever again. I never want to hear about that, because this is worse. If you think that was bad, I don't think it was bad, and I definitely don't think it was character destruction. But if you think it was bad, for argument's sake, you can't then say, bring that up and then defend this movie. Because fuck that. This is way worse. You legit destroyed Jor-El in this movie. For fucking what? So you could have this shitty plot? You didn't have to even have this plot. Ugh. Fuck that, dude. So, Superman has a conversation with the Justice Gang. And then this is where Superman just kind of flies off and then sulks for like the rest of the movie, and basically the rest of the city turns on him and all that. And like there's this reporter that Lex is working with, who's obviously manipulating the situation. So he goes home, and this is where Lois is already there, and she's trying to comfort him. And unfortunately, this could have been a really good scene where, you know, it could have been really emotional and show their chemistry, but like their serious chemistry. But no, they were fucking throwing jokes at each other. Once again, it's like James Gunn cannot help himself, and it's weird because Guardians actually, the first one especially, had that balance where it was a comedy, but when there was serious moments, they let the serious stuff play out. You know, especially with like Drax, with Gamora, even in the second movie, and then, you know, the third one, there are serious scenes where they let it play out. But for some fucking reason, James Gunn is like, I think he's become like a parody of himself, to where it's like he feels like now, because I don't know if he thinks like, oh, I'm known as the comedy guy now, so he feels like he has to stick to that style. If that's the case, that's fucking unfortunate. He definitely should have did Superman then. He shouldn't have done Superman if that's how he was fucking thinking. Like, what the fuck? Like, this could have been a really good emotional scene between Lois and Superman. And then you also have the dumbass fucking fight happening in the background, which you couldn't... So it's like you're distracted with the fight while they're supposed to have this emotional scene. It's like, why did you have to have the fight there? You could have just had it be on the news. Or even just, like, you have it on the news for a second, and then Lois turns the TV off, and then Superman decides to go help him anyway. And then you could have ended the scene. But no, you had to have it in the background. Because, oh, look at the goofy shit happening in the background while this serious shit's happening. This conversation's happening. It's like, it's just a lot of shit done just for the sake of a laugh. And I'm going to say it, a lot of them don't fucking work anyway. This movie is not funny, and it didn't need to be. That's the bad part of it. Like, if you're going to try to be funny, at least be funny. This was not funny. It was just cringe. It's like, why is this shit happening in the background? Just so you can have a gag? Like, oh, look at this shit happening in the background while we have this serious conversation? Like, why? For fuck's sake, why? Ugh, it's like, the amount of shit, this is why I can't get into a lot of superhero movies anymore. They're so scared to be serious now. They feel like they have to all just be like fucking comedies now. And I just don't feel like Superman should be a comedy. There could be some comedy in it, but it should not be a comedy flat out. You know, if this was like a Flash movie, a Deadpool movie, a Guardians, fine, have all the humor you want. But it's funny enough though, Deadpool 3 was even like, when there was serious stuff happening in the movie, they let it play out. They didn't just ruin it for the sake of a laugh, when they could have. I'm gonna be honest, all the Deadpool movies I feel like largely had that, where they are funny, but when there is a moment that is serious and, you know, they want to be serious, they actually let it play out. They let the serious moment play out. They don't just ruin it with a gag because for whatever fucking reason they feel like, I don't know, they feel like kids can't handle serious shit all the time. And as much as I didn't like the Batman, that was like the last kind of uber serious superhero film we've had in the last like 3 years. Everything else has been all like basically this superhero slop soup where it's just fucking, you gotta have jokes every 5 minutes. And this has been a problem really for the last 10 years. Really, I think this has been a problem for a while. It has just gotten worse, in my opinion, to where just no superhero film that comes out is like, I can't take seriously anymore. So like, why even be invested in this? Everything has to always have a gag in it, and everything has to have a joke. It's like, it's fucking frustrating. This should have been, I'm not saying it, if you wanted to maybe not make it as uber, I don't even necessarily think Man of Steel was uber serious, but if you wanted to dial it back, then fine. But you could have still had this be a serious movie with maybe some jokes in it. That's all it needed to be, is have some serious, but a lot more serious moments, or at least let there, when there is supposed to be like this Lois and Superman conversation should have been really good. Because to me, I think if you have that scene, it really could have highlighted David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan's chemistry. Because I think they have chemistry, it seems like, in the interviews. But for whatever reason, in the movie, it wasn't like they were allowed to show it. Because we had to ruin the scene with the gag. Okay, so Superman then goes and helps the Justice Gang fight the monster. I don't think you actually see it, though. It just kind of cuts. So Superman decides to take himself in, and you have Rick Flag, who, in my opinion, was just there. I like fucking, I'm trying to think of his name, because he's also in fucking, he was in Tulsa King season 2. I can't think of his name right now, but the guy that got it, I can't think of his name right now, is really good. He's usually really good at stuff, and I just felt like in this, he was just there. Just to say, oh guys, remember Rick Flag from the Suicide Squad movies? Like, that's all it was. It was just, remember that character? There's a lot of member berries and kind of comic little Easter egg, not even Easter eggs where it's just like a little Easter egg. No, it's a lot of like straight up. It feels like member berries, especially for like if you're a DC fan, like where you know this shit. And it was just like, remember this? Remember Rick Flag? And I like that actor too, and I just don't really love it. I felt like he was also, funny enough, he's wasted in Marvel too, because he was fucking was he Crossbones? Something like that. I forgot what his name was, but I think it was Crossbones, from Civil War. He was just kind of there. Frank Grillo! There you go. His name came to mind. Frank Grillo. Really good actor. He's just there in this movie. In the background. Because Lex, there's a scene earlier where he was trying to talk to this like government organization basically to look into Superman, and they didn't want to look into him at first. So yeah, it's like Frank Grillo was just there as Rick Flag, and that's actually not a bad casting too either. But he's just there. He doesn't actually really have anything to do in the movie. So Superman gets taken by fucking Ultraman, which is like throwing him around. It's like, once again, Superman's just getting his ass beat. Like, why? Like, you could have just had Superman just get taken, and then he gets like he's thrown to the ground. It's like, fucking A. It's just him constantly getting his ass beat. It's ridiculous. And then, yeah, so they go to Lex's pocket universe, and you see that he has like girlfriends locked up. You see the fucking monkeys that are doing the fucking trolling on the typing. Like, what are we doing, dude? What is happening? Oh my god. And then they put him in a cell with Metamorpho, who's forced to basically make his hand into kryptonite, which weakens Superman. Which, this was a half-assed way to introduce kryptonite too. It felt so like as much as I love how kryptonite fully was introduced in the first Superman movie, it was introduced better. At least there was like build up to the kryptonite. It was mentioned and all that. No, we know your weakness is kryptonite. Here's kryptonite. It's like, what? There's no build up. Even in BVS, you had the build up with Batman And even Lex's side of it, and obviously what Batman ends up doing with it, it's like in this, it's just kind of there. Oh, metamorpho, make your hand into kryptonite. It's just like, okay, all right, sure. It's just like, sure, I guess. Like, it's just half-assed introduced. And then Lois gives the location because Jimmy, like in the leaks said, is having an affair with Miss Tessmacher, who she's just once again Miss Tessmacher in both the original and even in Superman Returns actually had a role, and she was there. She was doing stuff in this. She's only there just to give Jimmy information about Lex, and she's only doing it because Lex is being mean to her. Essentially, that's what they're going for. Lex is being an asshole to her, so she runs to Jimmy, who really doesn't want to be with her. It's like, and that's the gag. Oh, he doesn't actually want to be with her. It's like, ugh, this is so stupid. Jimmy has never been a ladies' man. That's never been his character. I don't know why they're. The best portrayal of Jimmy Olsen, in my opinion, is the animated series. That is how you do Jimmy Olsen. And I think that's what he should have been in this movie instead of like having him be like a. And he's also supposed to be like a super fanboy of Superman, and he's not really. You don't get that vibe. He's a. I mean, he likes Superman clearly, but he's not like a. You don't get that super fan feel like in most portrayals where he's supposed to be like a super fan of Superman. Like he really loves Superman. That's the whole point of the character. And then even Perry White, you wonder why I didn't really mention Perry White a lot in this review. He's just there. And I like that actor. Granted, I don't necessarily think you should have race swapped him again. Like, I was fine with it with Lawrence Fishburne, because one, it's just Lawrence Fishburne. And I've always thought Perry White's not a big part of these movies. And if you aren't going to really have him in the movie anyway, then just have him be white. It's like, go back to a white Perry White. It's not a big deal. Because Perry White's just there. He's just there to chew a cigar. That's all he does in the whole fucking movie, is just chew a cigar. It's like, if you're going to have this guy be an actor, have him use it. But he's not. And then once again, I don't blame him. It's the script. He has nothing to do. It's like, then why even have him in the movie? You could have just had him for like a quick scene. You hire some, no, not a really big name actor to be like some white dude who's not a big name actor. Have him in there for a couple of scenes. And then just, if you're just going to have him in the movie anyway, just have it do like that, where he's a background character. You see him once or twice. But to have him throughout the movie, but he doesn't actually do anything. He's just there to chew a cigar, and then you get an actor like him who's like in a lot of good shit, and he's actually a really good actor, and then you don't actually do anything with him. It's just like, why get a really good actor then? You would have been better off finding some smaller name actor and then just not have him in the movie as much. Because he might as well not been in the movie as much. He has no role in this. But, once again, to a fucking cigar. So, Lois goes to the Justice Gang. They don't want to help. And, my God, the humor in this scene was terrible. Like, every scene, like, they were trying to have, like, oh, laugh at the dynamic of the Justice Gang. And it's just not funny. It's painfully unfunny. It's just like, this is like you, James. This is a parody. This is like if you did a parody of the Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what it felt like to me. It's like they were trying to go for the Guardians dynamic, and it just did not work. And, oh, the building they go to. Guys, it's the Hall of Justice. Aren't you hyped? Remember the Hall of Justice? No. It's like, why is it here? It's just here for the sake of a member berry. This is like, it's just there. It's just like, oh, here's the Hall of Justice. Like, there's no build-up, and it doesn't even make sense. Why would they have the Hall of Justice? It should be the Hall of Justice for the Justice League. Because it says Hall of Justice on it too, by the way. So, for fuck's sake, dude. It doesn't even make any sense to be in this movie. Just for the sake of, because you don't even have the Justice League yet. So, whatever. Man, this movie. It's fucking annoying. I hate this fucking movie. So, Mr. Terrific decides to go help because he's only doing it basically because he wants to piss off Guy Gardner. So they end up going to I don't remember the other country. They not I think it was Moravia they're in, and they're about to invade another country because now they think they have the green light because oh Superman is bad basically. And Mr. Terrific's able to like track Superman's movements and find where he's at. And then a bunch of Lex's like robot guys. I think they're robots. I think, or they're superhuman. I don't. They don't really explain. Mr. Terrific basically takes him out, puts Lois in the force field, and they play this like song. I don't remember the song. I don't think I actually know what the song's name is, but they play this song that basically sounds like it would be in a Guardians movie. Like it would be in a Guardians flick. Like this is a song that you could see in like Guardians of the Galaxy or even like a Suicide Squad movie. Like why it doesn't fit this movie. Like a lot of the music just does not fit. So like even the actual score doesn't work. It just feels like it's a retread. You know, the main Superman theme basically is just the Christopher Reeve theme. Just hear the John Williams version. You don't need to hear this version of it because it's not that good. It's not memorable. You would have just been better off once again if you just made your own unique score that maybe if it was actually really good could have stood out. Even if it was a piece of shit movie, I could have at least given you compliments on the music. But I can't give you that. The music in this movie is terrible. It's just very generic. This is like generic score when the score is supposed to happen. And then obviously the Superman music cue when he's about to save people. So Mr. Terrific's able to find the portal to the pocket universe, and then Lex kills some guy in cold blood, and that's what makes like he's another one. He cries. Metamorpho cries. It's like, come on, dude. It's like, come on. I get it. It's sad someone died, but what the fuck? Like, Metamorpho should not be crying. Metamorpho he also didn't need to be in the movie. He was there because he's obviously going to be added to the Justice Gang. He's going to be the Drax, essentially. He's going to basically be the Drax. It's like, for fuck's sake, James Gunn. You're such a fucking hack. You just make the same movie over and over again. It's like, why, dude? The Guardian style does not work for Superman. It just doesn't. The Justice Gang didn't need it. That could have been its own movie. If you wanted to make some shitty Justice Gang movie, I probably wouldn't have liked it anyway, but at least make it its own movie, where if you want to make it a Guardians ripoff again, whatever. I would have still complained, like, really, James Gunn, you're making another Guardians-like team, but whatever. At least you do that separately. Don't put that shit in a Superman movie, because it's so obvious you're going to add Metamorpho and he's going to be the Drax. Anyway, so Superman now is able to convince Drax, I actually call him Drax, it's funny enough, Metamorpho to drop the kryptonite hand, and he's able to make something that's like the sun, which is okay. And then Superman's able to recharge, breaks out like some baby. I think that's Metamorpho's kid, I'm thinking. Gets Metamorpho out, helps the rest of them out, or some of them out, and we have a fight where, and once again, even in this fight, he's getting his ass beat. Superman should not be struggling with these guys. He should just be kicking their ass. It's like too many times, man. Then Mr. Terrific has to come and help him. They manage to get out. But Superman ends up getting kryptonite poisoning because he was exposed to kryptonite too long. And they take him back to the Kent farm. And Pa Kent's crying, which is like, okay, this is actually a moment where I actually have no problem. It's understandable that the father's crying here because he thinks his son's about to die. And then you got Ma Kent making fun of him for it. Like, why? Well, Ma Kent would not do that. It's like little things like that because, oh, it's a gag, guys. It's funny. Man, that's a theme in this movie. We gotta everything. A lot of things are just done because it's for the sake of a fucking laugh. That's the theme in this movie, really. Everything's done for a laugh. Like, Ma Kent would not do that. She would not make fun of Pa Kent, especially if she thinks her son, if he thinks their son's gonna die. Of course, she's gonna probably be as emotional as him. Oh, man. Why? But Superman ends up getting better, and this is where Superman starts thinking like, "Oh, I'm not a." He starts doubting himself, which this doesn't feel earned. You know, there's nothing wrong inherently, right? Because you always get this in a lot of superhero movies. They even did this with Superman in the Snyder movies. You know, they do this with Superman. They've done this with Batman. They've done this with multiple characters where the hero doubts himself at a moment. Of course, they're gonna always doubt themselves, right? But it doesn't feel earned here because it wasn't even built up. It just kind of happens because it's like, oh, guys, we gotta have that moment. Like it's like there's some things that are just done out of a checkbox for a superhero movie. Oh, humor, check. Oh, we gotta have the moment where the hero doubts himself. Check. That's what it feels like here. It doesn't feel like it's earned because there's no build up to it. Because there's not like you don't even like if you had built it up to where if you started it where where the people turned on Superman after the video got out. If you had like had him then start even this, if you actually tweak that conversation with Lois where she's trying to comfort him, you should have had that moment be where it's like he starts to doubt himself. I think they kind of did, but it doesn't feel fully built up. Because it wasn't like it was fully explored. It's just, oh, it's happening now because we have to have that plot in a superhero movie. It's just why? Like, you did not need to do that. You did not need to have this plot. If you weren't gonna do it, just don't do it. And this could have been a really good emotional scene with Pa Kent, but I think that scene's even ruined because of a laugh. It's just like, god damn it. And then Superman sees a video of the people from the other country that's about to be invaded start chanting for Superman, and that's when he decides to go help. And oh, I forgot. I skipped the scene. This is the scene that I got most mad at. The scene where Superman confronts Lex about kidnapping Krypto. And he's like throwing shit, like throwing a tantrum, which is that's gonna be the thumbnail for the video. This is how you introduce our versions of Lex and Superman together. That should always hit when these characters first meet. If you want an example of a really well done introduction of Superman to Lex Luthor, it's the animated series when Lex first meets Superman. The moment where Lex is just chilling there and then Superman just is there. He's floating, he opens the window, and then Lex is talking shit, and then Superman's not trying to play into it. He's calm, he just has his arms crossed, kind of warns Lex in the end there. That is how you do an introduction to Lex and Superman. And whatever you think of Eisenberg's Lex, I'm sorry, when they first meet in BVS, it's far done better than in this movie. They just he just throws a tantrum, and then he's just yelling at Lex. Like, it didn't hit. Like, that's why I feel like I can't get mad at David Cornsweet or Nicholas Hoult, because I felt like either of them got anything to work with. I think if they had a really good script, and you actually had their first introduction be really well done, you could actually be really invested in this Lex and Superman dynamic. But you're not, because their introduction was done terribly. And it did not work, and that's why the dynamic to me in this movie doesn't work, because not the fault of them, it's the fault of the script, it's the fault of James Gunn. I don't know how much Peter Safran had how much input he had, but if he had some input, it's the fault on him too then, because this was not good. You didn't give him anything to work with. I would have, like, the fact you couldn't just do the scene from the cartoon live action, just do it like verbatim. I love that scene. You just tweak it, you do it earlier in the movie, but you have that scene. That scene hits, man. Superman's just floating there. Lex turns around. He opens the window. They're having a little conversation back and forth. Superman just has his arms crossed. Looks strong, looks intimidating, but Lex also looks intimidating. And you start to get their dynamic. And that's why it ends up working throughout the entire series, carrying over into the Justice League series. You don't get that here at all. It's unfortunate, like that they could have had a chance of Nicholas Hoult to be a really good Lex, but he just didn't. So unfortunately, I guess a live action, Michael Rosenbaum's still the undisputed best Lex Luthor in my opinion. So, I mean, and I unpopular opinion like Jesse Eisenberg's, like, especially I think if he just needed to shave his head. I think if you get rid of some of the weird stuff from the beginning of BVS, and if he was like the Lex we got towards the end of the Snyder Cut, where his head was shaved and he was very confident, if we got that Lex at the start of BVS, I think Eisenberg would be seen as a really good Lex. Just gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it. I think I like him more than right now Nicholas Hoult, because Nicholas Hoult is not his fault, but he didn't get anything to work with. At least Eisenberg, whatever you think of some of the weird stuff in the beginning of BVS, he had stuff to work with. He didn't really have anything to work with in this movie. And he still had a decent Superman Lex dynamic in that movie. You don't have that here, unfortunately. So Lex decides to send out Engineer and Ultraman, and Superman has to fight both of them. And there's a gag where he's throwing, like, if you remember the Hulk scene from the Avengers where he's smashing Loki into the ground, they have a similar scene where Superman's doing that to the Engineer. I'm like, God damn it. Really, James? You have to do a callback to Marvel for a company you don't even work for anymore? And yeah, the fight scenes just don't even hit. Well, a lot of it is because the CGI isn't that good. It's not like Flash bad, but it's not good either. I think that a lot of the CGI just doesn't work. Especially the scene where it's like towards the end, where he's doing like the Uber heat vision around and he's hitting a bunch of guys, and it just did not look good. It looked terrible. And even some of the flying scenes in this, when he was fighting both Ultraman and Engineer, did not look good. So he takes down the Engineer, and then he fights Ultraman. And Ultraman's basically beating his ass once again. And I wouldn't be as mad if he wasn't getting his ass kicked throughout the entire film, and we're now at this point he's getting his ass kicked at the start of the fight, I really would not have a problem. But once again, when it's the entire fucking movie, now I'm just seeing him get beat up again. It's just, fucking motherfucker. Crypto had to help him, and it was Crypto who's the one who realized, destroy these cameras. Like, you're telling me Clark couldn't realize that? He's not Bruce Wayne, but Superman is smart. A lot of people think he's, like, dumb, but no, Superman's smart. He's just not, like, Bruce Wayne smart, but he's smart. You're telling me Superman wouldn't have figured out, like, maybe the thing that's helping Ultraman is these fucking cameras that are floating around? It took the dog to figure that out. Like, really? So this Superman's dumb as fuck, too? So you just made Superman dumb as fuck, too? It's like, bruh. Like, why? Like, why'd you have to make Superman super dumb? Like, you're telling me he wouldn't have realized, like, the thing that's helping Lex Luthor and Ultraman is these fucking cameras, because they're seeing your every fucking move and basically, like, over, like, one step ahead, and that's how Ultraman really is able to beat him up. It's like, why, man? You're telling me he couldn't have figured that out? Like, and I know some people say that's a nitpick. No, that's not a nitpick. That's fucking stupid. Why did it take the fucking dog? No offense to dogs, but I'm just being honest here. Superman should have realized. He would have realized that. He would have realized, okay, it's these fucking cameras that are probably helping Ultraman. It's just like, why? So that once Crypto, like, starts destroying the cameras, now Superman's actually able to do shit to Ultraman. Oh, and I forgot to mention at this point, Ultraman's unmasked. And there's a lot of people that thought it was going to be Henry Cavill. Like, why? Why would you think it would be Henry Cavill? It's a fucking clone, so of course it's going to be probably just David Cornsweet, and it was just with long hair. I'll admit the effects for that look decent, honestly, but it just did not work for me. You would have been better off once again having it just be Bizarro. Get rid of the. I don't even like the idea of, like, them being able to be one step ahead. No, Bizarro is as strong as Superman. He's not uber strong, and Superman can beat him. But Bizarro has taken it to Superman before, even just in the animated series, because he has some of his strength. So of course he's gonna be able to take it to Superman. If you just did that, you don't have like these tech fucking bros able to control him from. Like, I don't like that. I was getting annoying after a while. It made Ultraman. It's like, is he just a robot at this point then? Why is he a robot then? If you're just able to, like, do all these moves and tell him what to do, you might as well just have him be a fucking robot. Or a cyborg or something. Like, this is why you shouldn't have called him Ultraman. Should have just been fucking Bizarro. Or even Metallo, honestly, could have worked. Because he has the kryptonite heart, which would be a weakness to Superman. And actually, that can make for an interesting fight. Because Metallo has kicked Superman's ass because of the kryptonite. And that's when, okay, if you need someone to help Superman, it would make sense because they can help Superman, like, maybe get the kryptonite away from Metallo, because that's generally how it happens. Like, there's an episode in the animated series where Metallo is taking on Superman and beating him up. So Jimmy Olsen is able to knock the kryptonite thing from his chest, and that's what helps Superman win the fight. So, like, you could add a Jimmy Olsen or even a Lois Lane, be the one to help him, like, get rid of the kryptonite, you know? Like, or just do Bizarro, like I said, if you wanted to do a Superman clone. But anyways, he beats Ultraman, he throws him in, like, the portal thing, and then while this is all going on, Mr. Terrific is able to close the rift, and I think at this point, either Lois or Jimmy Olsen is able to get all the evidence from Lex and all his plans, and they're able to put it on the news and able to show everybody that he was the one manipulating everything, and he's called a traitor. Even the reporter guy that Lex was working with at the beginning of the film turns on him, calls him a traitor. And then this is where he starts to cry like a little baby. It's just... This movie is draining, bro. Like, this could have been a really good movie. Like, you could have made this really good. But it's bogged down by so fucking much. But, so, Ultraman's defeated. Metamorpho, they don't say it, but I'm assuming he joins the Justice Gang. Because they help, while this is going on, yeah, they destroy, the forces of Baravia and kind of stop them. Well, I don't think they kill the people, but they stop, like, they destroy their stuff for the invasion. And Hawkgirl kills the leader that was working with Lex. That's really all Hawkgirl does in the movie that's, like, of any note. She doesn't do anything. She just kind of bickers with Guy for a lot of the movie. She bickers with him for the most part, and then just has that one scene. That's, like, the only notable thing she does in the entire movie. So Metamorpho joins the team. I think, I'm trying to remember what else happens. Because at this point I was checked out. I think Lex goes to jail. The town apologizes to Superman. And Superman kisses Lois, and I think it just ends with Lois and Superman kind of kissing, and then that's it. They have, like, their romantic moment, and it just ends. Yeah, this movie is not good. It just abruptly ends. It feels kind of like they just cut out, like, the ending doesn't feel complete, is what I'm getting at. Like, it just, like, they defeat Lex, and then Lois kisses Superman, and then that's it. And then, like, I think Jimmy promises, like, he'll hang out with Miss Tessmacher for the weekend. Whatever. It's just... This movie could have been really good, like I said, but James Gunn cannot get out of his fucking way. He feels like he has to make the same fucking movie over and over and over again. It's insane, dude. He's become a parody of himself. Like, Guardians 3 was only 2 years ago, and there was serious moments in in that movie, and he actually lets it play out. But for whatever reason, 2 years later, it's like no, 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 I'm gonna go full retard and just go full on meme, and you gotta make everything a joke. You gotta undercut every serious moment with a fucking joke. It's like, why are we still doing this shit? Why are we still doing this style of superhero movie when a lot of people are actually tired of it? I have seen a growing number of people are like, you know what, we're kind of tired of that. We would like our superhero movies to be somewhat serious now. I think people are actually starting to kind of want a superhero movie that's a little bit serious. And I think it helps, granted, it wasn't a superhero thing, but it was more because it was tied to Batman. But you had things like The Penguin, which took itself seriously. It was a really good show. And basically the best thing DC's put out, in my opinion, since the Snyder Cut, if you count that as like within the 2020s. Outside of that, it was the Penguin. But for whatever reason, we can't get stuff like that. I'm not saying I want a Superman movie to be like that, but I need a Superman movie that takes itself slightly seriously. Not every serious moment be undercut with a fucking joke. Like I mentioned with the scene where she's trying to comfort him. That could have been a really good fucking scene for the both of them, but instead you have it play out like a joke. You have like all this shit happening in the background. You have them joking at each other, even though Superman's supposed to be fucking sad. She should be saying kind of like words of encouragement, because Lois is always kind of like that character for him. You have Mary Jane for Spider-Man for that kind of role. It's the same thing here. She plays that role for Superman. Like she's his rock. If you instead of like if it's not Ma Kent, it should be Lois Lane. She's the person he goes to when he's like not feeling right or feeling sad. It should be like that. You don't get any of that in this movie, because once again, you can't have it play out serious. It's too serious. We gotta have a joke. We gotta have a gag. Ugh. The music doesn't work. The plot doesn't work. Everything just kind of fucking happens. This movie is heavily bloated. This almost feels like the movie feels like segments of a TV show. Like it almost feels like different parts of the movie feel like I'm like, is this like a next episode? Like this feels like, in a weird way, this movie's almost episodic. It feels like a different episode each part of the movie. Like there's a part like the Mr. Terrific part felt like could easily be a different episode. Like if this was a TV show, that would have been a different part. That would have been a different episode. The monster fight, that could have been its own episode. The part where they're closing the rift, that's its own episode. Where Lois has to rescue Superman, which is tied to the Mr. Terrific part, that's an episode. Like the Mr. Terrific thing could have easily been like a 2-part episode of a show, which fundamentally is the problem with this movie. It feels like a TV show in that sense. This should have been a movie. It should have been a singular plot. Maybe have one other underplot, basic side plot, but this should have been a main plot. Like that's what made Man of Steel work, was that it was mainly Zod's forces invading Earth. And obviously you have a little bit of the origin stuff, but largely it's the invasion part. That's the main plot. And there's a little side plot, but largely it's that. Superman 78, Lex's plan, that's the main point of the movie. And I know Superman saving people, but it was still the main point of the movie. This is like a bunch of things going on. Like just a bunch of different things going on, just for the sake of different shit happening. But anyway, Rachel Brosnahan, David Cornsweet, Nicholas Hoult did deserve better. They deserve better scripts. I think they could have played those roles in a different movie, in a much better movie. David Cornsweet especially, because I think he could have been a decent Superman if they gave him something to work with, but they don't. What they do to Ma Kent, fucking character destruction of Jor-El was insane. Why would you do that to Jor-El? Why? Like, legit, that's a lot of this movie I can just ask, why? Why the fuck would you do that to Jor-El? Like, there was no reason to. If you were just gonna do that, I would have been better off not having him in the movie. Just have him be mentioned, but you don't have to have him in the fucking film. If you're just gonna have him in the film just to do that shit. Like, really? One of the most important figures in Superman's life. Obviously Jonathan Kent I give a little bit more because he raised him, but Jor-El is a big part of Superman, especially later adult life, and a big reason why he ends up becoming a hero and all that. But that's why he's important. But you decide, let's destroy him. Let's do character destruction. just for the sake of the plot. And then maybe we'll retcon in another movie and say it was Brainiac who distorted the message. And, oh, Jor-El really wasn't. Like, no. Now you made him look like a piece of shit. You made him a Viltrumite from Invincible. He's not a Kryptonian. That's not why he sent Clark here. Like, really? Nah, bruh. Fuck off with that shit. So yeah, this movie is... No, I'm going to push it down to a 2 out of 10. I gave it a 3. It's 2. I don't really have any positives. This is my worst movie of the year. Just the Jor-El shit alone is why it pushes it up. That pisses me off. The humor is annoying. It's James Gunn just being James Gunn at this point. He just cannot fucking get out of his own fucking way. It seems like with Guardians he'll try because that's his specific baby, but because Superman is not fully his, I think he just doesn't care when it's not his. I'm starting to think that. It seems like he actually puts a little bit more care into Guardians because that's his. You know, Guardians 3 was the conclusion to his trilogy. So of course he's going to put a bit more care into it, but when it's another character that he has technically no ties to, really, he feels like he can just do what the fuck he wants, and I think that's what he did here. That's why fundamentally he was not right for Superman. Because he's one of those guys, if it's not his, he feels like he can do what the fuck he wants to do with it. Unless it's his, that's when he'll actually try and put effort into it, and fuck that. At that point, James Gunn, okay, then do another trilogy with like the Justice Gang or something like that. You do not have to come and do Superman. You should have known, he should have been like, you know what? I'm not right for this. I'm going to find a really good director. Get the guy who did Top Gun Maverick. I think he would kill a Superman movie. He'd make an amazing Superman movie if you see what he did with Maverick in fucking Top Gun. But no. Or you can get Brad Bird who did The Incredibles, but nah. You decide, you know what, I'm going to just do it and Guardians it up because I don't care, because it's Superman. He's not my character. So he just feels like he can do what the fuck he wants with it. Yeah, fuck this movie. Never watching this again unless, like, I have to, but I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it again. This is the worst Superman movie. By far. I can take the fact that I think this is worse than Superman fucking Returns, and I despise that movie. If you know me, you know that. So when I say that that's worse than that's better than this, that's saying something. Superman fucking 4 is better than this piece of shit. Because at least I can laugh at that. Even Superman 3 is better than this. Because at least Superman 3, you have actually that really good scene where he kind of beats the bad version of himself, and then he rips off this, the shirt, and yet you see the suit, and then the music plays. That's a really good scene. And then I even like Richard Pryor. He's actually pretty funny in the movie. So at least there's some things I like in Superman 3, and even Superman 4 I can at least get some laughter out of. And at least it's a singular plot, and you still got Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve is still really good in that movie. So there's something. Even in Superman Returns, as much as I don't like that movie, I like the plane scene. I even like the scene where the bullet goes in his eye and it crushes. So there's some stuff I even like in that piece of shit. This is just, I have no real positives. You have some good actors, but they were wasted, I feel, because they had nothing to work with. So, okay, guys, I'm going to call it here. I'm going to talk more about Superman on Saturday. That's partially why I don't want to keep going off, because I'll say more on Sunday, sorry. So look out for that. Subscribe to Cowman Reviews. The stream will be on Sunday. I don't know the exact time yet, but I will tell you when. But yeah, this movie is not good. Hashtag super shit. That's what this was. So, but anyways, subscribe to Pin Down Podcast. Subscribe to Cowman Reviews. Look out for the Cowman Review stream on Sunday, where I'll be talking about more about this piece of shit, but with some friends, and see if they have some different takes than me. But yeah. But my next video, I don't know when I'm gonna do it. I don't think it'll be tomorrow, and I may not be Sunday either. We'll see. But I think I'm gonna do another revisionist history video, but about Superman Returns, because there's a lot of it about that movie, and I gotta go into again why that movie is bad. It's not good. It's better than Superman 2025, but it's still awful. It's still not good. And in my opinion, one of the movies I think really hurt Superman stock heavily. You know, that even Man of Steel couldn't fully save it, because I think it was still the effects of this movie. So, anyway, so I'll be talking about that. I'm gonna try for Sunday, but if not, probably Monday. Then, but yeah, Sunday or Monday will be my next video. But other than that, look out though for Cowman reviews, Superman stream Sunday. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna call it here. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all later.